You're listening to a Zone Radio podcast, zoneradio.co.za. It's now time to introduce you to a very interesting man. And I got an email sent to me, and it was an interesting email to say the least. But it was also a sad email in many respects as well, because it's a man who has worked very, very hard. And as somebody who did something similar to him for a long time, I understand the amount of hard work he put into his craft and his career. And just when he was getting going, all of a sudden, lockdown came and just about destroyed his business model. But being a tenacious kind of guy that he is, he decided that he would find a workaround, and a workaround he did find. And he's going to tell us all about it. His name is Shane Comley-White. Am I saying that correctly, Shane?
Yes, you are.
And Shane is a fifth Dan, martial arts fifth Dan. And he is the head of an organization called Soo Do. Am I saying that right?
Almost.
Almost. What's the right way? What's the right way?
Soo Do.
Soo Do. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Soo Do. Okay, so Shane, you tell us your story and the background to that email.
Perfect. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on air.
You're welcome.
In a nutshell, I said that a lot apparently. What happened was I've been tasked by overseas to actually get the organization off the ground here in South Africa and eventually go up until Africa or into Africa. So just to try and encourage this art to be spread throughout the African footprint. And we're definitely doing well. I did my fifth Dan grading in December, which was a crazy weekend. It
Congratulations.
was 2 days full. Thank you so much. And it was crazy. And then that's when I was given the privilege of being the head of the association here in South Africa. So what happened was we kickstarted the training. We're steadily growing, which is great. We're getting a lot of exposure, which is perfect. And then lockdown happened. But before that, the schools were closed. And that's where majority of the students were. So I go and teach at the schools, and I teach at the rec centers, and I try to get out to multiple different places. You know, we do weapons, we do sword, we do all the kicks and the punches and all that as well. And there was a great response to it. However, everything closed down, which means no one wanted or was able to train. We couldn't have a space to train them. So one of my other instructors and I, we actually sat down and said, okay, what can we do? How can we get this going? We sat down and used the lockdown period to create multiple platforms. One of them was almost like a Zoom training platform, but it's our own one that we run and host. And that allows us to give daily training to all the students who can't attend class. So that's the one aspect. The second one is we've just filmed over 500 different videos, roughly about 10 to 20 minutes each.
Wow.
Of it's a lot. It's a hell of a lot. With all of the techniques and all of the instruction that goes behind it. And we've now developed an online course or training program from white belt all the way up to black belt. Unfortunately, you can't do the dans in that, but yet. But everywhere up to pre-black or black belt, and everyone can do the entire syllabus week by week with us live as well as pre-recorded. And so we've literally developed this program.
How's it doing?
We used it positively. It's extremely slow. Okay, we're trying to get out there to all the people. It has been launched maybe about 3 weeks ago. So we are just trying to get out to everyone and try appeal to the people who are stuck at home, missing gyms, who are bored at home as well, and also being a bit of a couch potato because they're forced to be one now, you know, because we've been told that we're not allowed to do stuff. So the more we can do, the more people can come online, the better. And it's not only going to be an online.
Okay, so there are two platforms. One, somebody can subscribe, I'm guessing, to it, the lessons, and they can go through the lessons at their own pace. But then there is also the live element online as well, where people can actually be part of a Zoom class, basically. Is that what you're saying?
They work together.
Okay.
So what happens is you'll subscribe as a white belt. You'll start with the first 2 techniques. Each week you get 2 different techniques to learn. And within that week, you come join the live session with myself or the other instructors, and they repeat it and they go over it and guide you with that Next week, they learn the new stuff, and so on and so on. So it works in conjunction with each other.
Okay, so that's nice because the instructor can actually see you and say, hey, listen, you need to move your foot a little bit to the left or to the right, or you're dropping your hand too low, or stand straight, or whatever the case. They can actually see that. How many people can
Exactly.
you go in a class?
Well, at the moment, we've allocated 4 instructors,
Mm,
myself included, okay,
mm.
four to get started with this. And we can have up to about 20, 30 people per session. Okay, now we're
Okay.
not just going to do one session a week.
No, no, I'm
We
sure
aim
you're not.
to, yeah, if we can get hundreds of people, that's my
Mm.
hope. We will work out the times to actually fit all those people and allocate a time that suits everyone and give them the option to come to multiple sessions if they wish. So
That's
it's not limited to only one.
That's cool. In fact, you're hoping you can do 2 or 3 sessions a day, which would be great. And also
Yep,
great right now because schools are going to be closed up again and kids are going to be at home and they're not going to be able to do anything. This is the perfect thing for a parent to sign their child up to, isn't it?
that's what we're hoping for. Yeah, not
Uh,
only for the kids but also the family. So get the whole family to train together. So
mm,
moms, dads, kids, everyone can allocate the time, get a bit of family bonding going together, and it's nice. There's a saying: families that train together stick together.
yeah, yeah.
So if we can encourage that, not only as an individual but also as a group, that would be awesome.
We see that with people and cycling, with the mom, the dad, the brother, the sister, and sometimes they're towing the pram as well, and the whole the whole
Yep.
family goes on a ride, and off they and you look at that and you think they together. You're
Yep.
right. I think that the family thing is sometimes, when it comes to martial arts, is sometimes overlooked because people tend, I don't know what people tend to think about it, but you very seldom find the entire family coming to a martial arts class. It's almost like dad doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of the youngster, or that type of
That's
thing.
also true.
Yeah.
However,
So,
on our side,
mm,
sorry,
mm,
on our side, we've actually got a lot of family units that join.
that,
We've got a mom and dad and a child. It's a 3 unit family. The child started, then the mom was roped in, now the dad
mm,
was roped in,
mm,
and they're having fun. They're doing all the weapons. Now these are the physical ones, but they
mm,
are doing everything together, and they're
mm.
loving it. So it's a good thing just to get started. That's the hard part.
All right. Now, before we go into how people can hook up with you and the cost thereof, because I'm hoping that there is a cost to this. I mean that quite sincerely. I'm hoping that there is a cost to it. All right. Um,
Yeah.
but we'll get to that. Tell people a little bit more about, because there are many names that are bandaged around the martial arts markets. You and I could probably discuss 20 or 30 of them between us. But
Yes.
uh, Soo Do, background to that.
All right. It's a South Korean-based martial art. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you've got all. I don't know if you know of the taekwondos and
Mm,
the hapkidos
mm,
and all of those. It's a collaborative form of majority of those, based in overseas, obviously, but
mm,
it's got the kicks, the punches, and the flying kicks, the spinning kicks. So the elaborate movements as
mm,
well as the practical. And I'm going to stress the practical because a lot of people think that you can do all these amazing kicks, but do they actually work?
mm-hmm,
We actually put in the practical side.
mm,
Now, a bit of background for myself. I
mm,
went into bodyguarding in 2009, and the martial art was the actual thing that got me to be selected for a grant, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm,
So I was able to join the bodyguarding program because of the practicality of our training. So that was a good thing. Um, but we do not just the kicks and punches. We've got the
mm,
traditional, we've
mm,
got a lot of fitness, and
mm.
everyone will build up their fitness in time. So you don't have to be a super fit person to join. You could be overweight, you could be
Yes.
huffing and puffing every second, and eventually we'll get you to a point where you are able to cope perfectly or to the best of your ability. We also add on the weapons. So we've got 10 basic weapons that we learn, traditional as well as practical. And with that, we also end off in sword. Now, the sword it's a mix between the Japanese and the Korean kind of sword, and it's quite intense. It's a fun one, but that's why it's the last weapon at the end. So, but yeah.
You
It's
know,
not an easy one.
let's just answer this question because we know that people are going to come and oh, I want the sword. I want the sword. The sword, people understand, folks. You earn the right to use the sword,
Exactly.
and you earn the right to use those weapons as you progress. You can't just go in and say, "Give me that big thing and let me do what." It's not going to work like
Definitely not. Well, let me give you an example of how that works.
that.
We work with strength. Okay, so in order to be able to yield a weapon, you have to be strong enough to do so.
Mm,
And also, you also need the discipline not to drop the weapon.
mm-hmm,
Okay, so let's take the first weapon that we do, and it's a long staff.
mm.
If you drop that straight away, you drop with it and you do 10 push ups.
Ah,
Okay, now that's the first weapon. Sword is the 10th weapon. If
mm,
you drop that, you straight away do 10 times 10 push ups. So it's 100
100
push ups
push-ups.
straight away. Hopefully, by the time you get to that level, first of all, you won't drop the sword because
Mm.
you've learned your mistakes from the beginning, and also you should be strong enough to be able to do the 100 push-ups without worrying about it too much.
Yeah, you should be
So it's
doing.
everything is progressive.
Yeah, it's an amazing look. Martial arts to me is it's the amazing disciplines involved there, and I reckon that every young child should do at least 2 years of it in their development because the disciplines that are taught in martial arts are like no other.
Yeah,
And there is not only the discipline, but there is this thing called respect that exists within
yes,
martial arts that is actually quite special. And I think that particularly if a youngster's like uh, giving a little bit of problems at home or at school or something like that, one of the finest ways to sort all of that out and to give that child the self-respect is to give them a opportunity to experience martial arts, even if it's just for 1 or 2 years. But that's just my
yeah.
view, and that's a view based on my own experience. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still
Okay,
here.
because your picture's frozen. Anyway,
Oh,
as
right,
long as
no,
long as you're still there, um,
still here.
the let's talk about the structure and the cost of these courses, so that people can get an understanding of what it would cost them to join up, and then we'll point them in that direction.
All right. So it looks like my camera's turned off here.
Yeah.
So basically, the structure works on a month by month basis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're trying to keep the costs as low as possible. And because of that, we are charging a 400 Rand per month, which
Mm.
gives you the following access.
Okay.
Two weekly emails. The first one is an instruction one, and the
Mm.
second one is a fitness program. Okay, which
Okay.
also includes almost like a bit of an eating plan if people want to follow that and all that. The other access is to the different live streaming sessions.
Mm-hmm.
You also join a WhatsApp group, so you can start communicating with all the other online people that join and ask questions throughout the day. And there's not everyone's always going to be responding the whole time, so there's no waiting period for responses.
Mm.
Um, after this lockdown kind of ends,
In
crossing fingers that
Well,
it
but
happens
in
pretty
about
soon.
2007, 2075, somewhere around there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect, of course. I won't be around at that time, chances are, but we'll get someone else to drive around to all the different provinces and actually host training camps.
Uh huh.
And those training camps will be weekend based, maybe 3 days, weekends, where we can actually get together and train together. So all the online people will still have the physical training throughout the year and maybe more if everything goes well. So 400 Rand for an individual. And
Mm-hmm.
then depending on how many people join, there are discounts, and those are all listed on the website. So there are slight price changes for the discounted time or the people that come through,
Okay.
if that
So
makes
like a
sense.
like a family package would be something that would
Yes.
be okay. As far as schools are concerned, are you offering special packages and sort of a platform in isolation for schools? In other words, what I'm saying is that if school A decides that we're going to put together 30 youngsters and we're going to get them to do this thing, can you isolate that school as a separate entity, or do they have to be part of the greater group?
No, we can definitely create a different group for them, and we can make them a school specific. So we just set up the time, we set up the online sessions for them. They will still receive the same emails, the
Mm-hmm.
same email structure, But then when it comes to the live training, we can definitely allocate a specific time that will suit them, maybe grade by grade or even school by school.
Okay, that's very cool because what I'm thinking is this is ideal for somebody who wants to just join a general class, which is wonderful, and wants to be training alongside somebody that is in Gauteng, somebody that is in Bloemfontein, somebody that is in possibly KwaZulu Natal, from different parts of the country, all in one class, which is very, very cool.
Yes.
If, for instance, here we're based in the deep south in the valley. Let's say, for argument's sake, there's a group of guys who live in a street. 10 of them. They decide, listen, we want to make a class for ourselves and do this. Again, on your server, you can do that in much the same way as you would do the school.
Yes, definitely. We are trying to build up the groups, and it's
Yeah.
always nice to have a group. So we're trying to, again, like we're even trying to get through to the principals and say to the principal, let's actually pass this down to the parents to give the kids something to do, especially when they're stuck at home, bored, maybe driving the parents up the wall.
Mm,
Give them that space. And if they can do it as a school, perfect. Same thing with other groups,
mm,
whether it be a dancing group that can't go dancing and they want to do
mm,
this, let
mm.
them join, or even just a whole bunch of neighbors, let them join. And we can allocate specific times and an instructor, whether it be myself or the others, that specifically to that class. So they know the same people all the time.
I think that's very, very cool indeed. What would be your minimum size group for it to be viable for you?
To be honest, at this stage, we can start off with one person. They'll join the current classes that are
Mm.
there now, and we are hoping to maybe get to about 20 people per session.
But what I'm asking,
So,
the question I'm asking is that if there's a group of people who are sitting listening to this and they're saying, hey, that's a good idea, let's all get together and start a class of our own, as it were, you would want what, a
hmm,
minimum of 5, a minimum of 10 for it to be viable for you?
yeah, we can definitely work with
Okay.
five, and then build it up from there.
Okay, that's cool. That's the number I was looking for. So if there are 5 guys,
Perfect.
5 ladies, 5 guys and ladies, 5 youngsters, for argument's sake, that are in the same street, their parents can hook up and they can make a class of 5, and they can be on a separate class with you guys.
That's correct.
I think that is incredibly flexible. That platform is incredibly flexible, and with the quality of internet, uh, hopefully getting better, I think this could almost be the future of your business.
That's what we've also been looking at, but we're not going to rule out the physical because the physical is
Well,
extremely
yeah,
important.
it is very important,
Um,
particularly in martial arts. But yeah,
yes,
mm,
but now here's a plus side.
mm,
If people join now, and
mm,
let's say this lockdown lasts for a long time and
mm.
whatever, even if it's a short time, and if they have the determination or the drive or vision to actually become an instructor, they can work towards that, and then they could even run, let's say, the Cape Town branches. They can start building up a business of their own.
Like
You
a
know, so
franchise almost. I mean, that is wonderful thinking.
yeah, well, they would be under our banner, obviously,
Mm.
and it would be we're trying to obviously grow as far and as wide as possible. They would obviously fall under myself. I'd be their instructor, and then they would have their students, and then so on and so on, and build up like a family tree of instructors and students, and make it far and wide. So there is a prospect of growth for entrepreneurs who maybe in 2.5 years' time, roughly, need to actually start looking to earn their own money.
I think, you know what, I think that you've used what was, because I know that in your email, I don't know whether you mind me quoting the number, but you lost 80%
Of
of
course,
your
you can.
revenue
Yes.
because of this lockdown and through no fault of your own. And you have, instead of buckling under that, again, I come back to the discipline of martial arts. There's a certain tenacity that goes with that, and because of that, you wouldn't buckle, and you decided to find a way around it. I believe your dad helped you quite a bit with this as well.
My dad,
Yes.
he just whips me into shape all the time. um, so basically, the way it works is I've been training for 21 years.
Yes.
Okay, I started when I was 17, and if you do the math, then I'm like what, something about 38, 39.
Yeah.
So I've been training for a long time, and everyone always says to you, "What about the board breaks? Boards don't fight back, all this
Mm,
kind of stuff."
mm,
And my view and our view and the style of the board breaks is life,
mm,
where you are given hurdles and you're
mm,
given challenges. those challenges are varied in different thicknesses or intensities or whatever, and you've got to use different skills and techniques to bypass those. And that is exactly what the board breaks are to me.
To think through it.
To think through it, and it's an obstacle that you've got to overcome. And this whole lockdown has become a massive board for myself. Not a physical one, but it's another hurdle that we have to say, right, how do we get through it? Instead of just sitting back and saying, this lockdown is terrible, I'm failing, I can't do anything else, I'm just going to give up, I'm just going to sit and wait for permission to do what we need to do. It's not going to work. You need to have some kind of vision or drive to actually push through.
I'm really sad that your video is not working, because I'd like people to watch this video and see just how positive you appear. It's not.
Thank you.
But maybe the first part of the video people can go back to and watch that, because speaking to Shane, you can see that there's a fire in his eyes. There's a positivity about what he's talking about, and certainly a belief that it can work. I do believe it can work. Judy just popped up on our WhatsApp and she said, "What a great idea!" I think it's a stunning idea,
Judy.
Shane. I really do. I think that you definitely have thought out of the box here. You've used technology. You've got your own server as well, haven't you?
One of my students is an IT fundi. I've got a website background as well. I used to design websites for about 12 years now. And that's how we kind of just put everything together. The other bonus that we've got, which might be a good way for people to start earning a little bit of an income as well, is we've got an affiliate program that we've just launched. So if we, yes, this is all on our server. So it's all self-managed. We got a 200 meg line up and down for the live feed, so it's huge, and that's all been sponsored, thankfully. But
who sponsored
with
you?
the affiliate?
Sorry, just to make
actually, it was a filming company. It's the father of one of my students.
Okay.
He does a whole bunch of videos. Right?
Well, if he's got a brand, I'd like to mention it, because they deserve a mention because of sponsoring something like this. But carry on.
I'll get all the details for you.
Thank you.
So then, with the affiliate program, the way it works is if an individual who can't do training and is sitting at home like a house mom and just doesn't want to do the training themselves, but wants to promote it, they can sign up as an affiliate, and then they can actually earn per student that joins a little bit of a kickback from all the referrals that they've done themselves. So I'm trying to help as much as I can, because people are doing the same with me or for me. So I want to try to give back where I can as well.
I think you've got all the bases covered. I really do think that you've got all the bases covered. I just want to come back and just it's related to the martial arts, but you mentioned the fact that you are a bodyguard, a personal protector.
Yes.
Do you take people down that road that you can? Is there anything that you're doing on that front, or are you just sticking purely to the martial arts?
Okay, I'm not qualified as a bodyguard instructor. However, I do have people that I work with that are.
Okay.
So I can always guide them to those people. We do run things such as hijack awareness courses, which we've got developed. We do pepper spray courses, we do baton courses, knife courses, all of these as once-off courses. Those to the general public. Obviously, that's on hold now during the lockdown. But if people do want to go into the security world, I do work with someone that does it. He's from a company called GTTI, which is Global Tactical Training Institute, and his name is Mark Ekoff. He's a quite a deadly person, but we work well together, and he actually taught me how to shoot a gun back in the day, long time ago.
So there's all that goes with it.
Yes.
Is there anything that we've left out that you would like to mention?
Well, how people can get hold of me?
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
It might work.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way it can work is, first of all, I want to give you back as a radio station the opportunity to also get a bit of an income coming through if you are keen for an affiliate link. That's on one side. Then I'll chat to you later offline.
Okay.
So people can then join or send me a WhatsApp, okay? And with that, then they'll get the registration link that will automatically come through. Or they can go directly to the website, and they can follow the banner that pops up to start joining the online training. They click on that and we'll go through to the registration process.
Okay.
So can I give you the website details and my number?
The website, I think, is www.himsodo, HIMSOODO.com. And is that right?
That's correct, yes.
And if are you using your own cell phone number for the WhatsApp, or do you have a different number?
Yes, it's the 084 number, yeah.
The 08435982880. Is that the one?
That's the one.
I'm reading it at a distance, so you may want to repeat it.
Okay, so the cell phone number is 084 359 8280, and the website is www.himsoodo.com.
There we go. That's how you're going to be able to get hold of them and be able to communicate directly with Shane. Shane, we will put all that information onto the podcast that we share on our website this evening, and we'll put links to your website. We'll also put your WhatsApp number there so people can connect with you, and hopefully something will come of it. And I wish you all the best, my friend. I think that you've been very, very positive about something that you could quite easily have been very negative about. And I think just listening to you speak this afternoon, there may be people who are sitting in similar situations in their own businesses. And maybe just this conversation, even if they don't go into martial arts, even if they have no inclination to go into martial arts, just listening to the conversation and the way that you have dealt with what could have been a big negative in your life and turned it into a positive may just inspire somebody else to start thinking a little differently about their circumstances, and maybe where their head is down a little, it'll lift their chin. So if you've done nothing else, you've done that this afternoon for some folk, I'm sure.
Thank you. I really, really like that. Thank you so much. So here's a challenge to everyone.
Yes.
Think out of the box.
Yes.
And just try. There's no harm in trying. And you don't actually always need a funding to figure out a way to do it. You know, there's always some way, somehow, like you guys have helped me, and I really appreciate the help. There's always something that can come of it.
Well, I certainly hope that this is the beginning of a long relationship, and there were some suggestions in your email as to sort of tips and ongoing features, and I'm certainly going to be exploring those with you. And I thank you for reaching out to us, and may you go from strength to strength, Shane, really.
Richard, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything and the positivity from your side as well, and also getting me out to your listeners. And listeners, thank you so much for listening to my voice over the airs.
Yeah, it would have been nice if we could have seen a bit more of you, but anyway.
I don't know what happened. My camera just froze, so I do apologize. But yes.
Not the end of the world. What we will do, though, is we will send you a copy of the video, and then you can decide whether you want us to put it onto YouTube or not. Because now all you're going to get is my ugly mug, which is probably not what people want to see. But we've got a full wall-to-wall audio that we'll put onto our podcast this evening, and you'll find that on zoneradio.co.za. I look forward to touching base with you very soon in the future. And I want to thank you for spending time with us this afternoon and telling your story.
Thank you very much for the time, and I really appreciate everything that you've done for me as well.
You're very, very welcome, sir. And I'm going to play out with, you know what I'm going to play out with. This is a radio station that plays old school music. You know what I'm going to play. Everybody knows what I'm going to play. It's Carl Douglas and Kung Fu Fighting. Take care of yourself, Shane. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch.
Have a good one.
You too, eh?
Okay.
Have a great weekend, eh? Right. Bye.
You too. Keep on.
What a lovely man. His name is Shane Comley-White. He is a black belt 5th Dan, and he's the chief instructor and president of the International Soo Do Association. And just an inspiring story. And I certainly hope, folks, that you respond to that. At the very least, go and check it out and see. But he is just an absolute gentleman, and we would like to see him succeed in what he's doing. And if our listeners can be part of that, it would be just so cool. It really would be. And we'll put up all the links onto our Facebook page, along with the podcast that we'll put up this evening, and you can hook up with him there. and download and share the podcast with other people that you think may be interested in this type of thing. I think it is absolutely amazing. Judy popping up and say, "What an inspiring wow, that was such an inspiring interview." Yes, it was. It was, and like I said during the discussion, that the topic could have been anything. The topic could have been anything. It didn't have to be martial arts. It's just this man's attitude and approach that is so special and inspiring. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Judy. So hopefully we're going to be hearing more from him. Hopefully there's some things that we're going to be discussing, a feature idea that we've been throwing around, and we'll focus on that down the line. But for now, um, check it out. Check it out. A wonderful man, Shane Comley-White is his name.